This week, the seventh episode of Ahsoka, the penultimate episode, premiered. And, well, what was this show all about?
The show is about nothing.
All right, that may be a bit of an exaggeration. Actually, stuff did happen. It's just nothing really exciting happened, and nothing certainly deserving of a penultimate episode, which is supposed to set up the grand finale. This episode just sort of was. We start out back on Coruscant, where Hera is in front of I'm going to say military tribunal or political tribunal, trying to decide whether or not she needs to be court-martialed. Honestly, I don't think there's much of a question here. She disobeyed orders. She took 5 X-Wing off on her own and got 2 of them killed. Yeah, that's kind of a court-martialable offense, in my opinion. But what do I know? I don't know anything about law.
I see what you did there.
Again, as we saw before, Senator Siono is the one leading the opposition, pointing out how ridiculous her story sounds.
Jedi. False Jedi. Star maps, star whales, distant galaxies. Honestly, are we to believe any of it?
Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous. I mean, the way this whole story's been developing over these last 7 episodes is ridiculous and disconnected and just not well put together. But at the same time, let's think about it here. It's not like they don't have evidence of the Imperial remnant forming out there. You've had Gideon out there. You have any photography or any video they have from the encounter with the giant, hyperspace ring. The engines being stolen. Again, this is the New Republic just being stupid. And they're about to make the decision to court-martial General Syndulla when, fortunately, Deus Ex droid shows up.
I am here on behalf of Senator Leia Organa. May I speak?
C-3PO shows up with a message from Leia Organa, indicating that Leia was the one who actually assigned Hera the mission to go out and find out what was going on with that giant hyperspace ring and everything. That's enough to get her clear of any charges, or recommendations for court-martial. And while she is off the hook, Chancellor Mon Mothma still isn't quite certain. She knows something is up. I understand this whole thing is supposed to be meant dramatic and everything, but it just really falls short. And it's kind of ridiculous. This is basically a political tribunal, a board recommending, basically referring a criminal charge. And yet the Senator Ziono makes an objection?
By the Imperial Remnant.
Objection! Imperial Remnant. Such a sensational term.
Who's he objecting to? There's no judge. There's no judge there at all. I don't know who he's objecting to. And I love when he objects when they try to introduce Leia's message from 3PO.
I object in the strongest terms.
Okay. So you see the difference. First it was object. Now it's I strongly object. Well, here's the secret, of course, of lawyering. If you put an adverb in front of the word objection or adjective, it makes it all the better. Yeah, that's how it works. In fact, I remember how it working in another movie.
The defense strenuously objects.
Wow, strenuously object, and I should take some time to reconsider.
Fortunately, that's the end of the dumbness on Coruscant with Hera. Unfortunately, we have to go to the rest of the dumbness of this episode. We pick up with Ahsoka traveling via Space Whale to the other galaxy. We see her practicing some Jedi fighting forms, and this is very ugly looking. I hope this is meant to be very slow and plotting, because if it's not, it just looks bad. I already commented before how I don't think that Rosario Dawson is physically up for the role. I don't know that she's practiced enough with a saber to be believable, but this just looks awful. But despite how bad that looks, oh, there's some gems in here. Yeah, because guess what happens? Yeah, hologram Anakin shows up, and he says this.
In this war, you will face more than just droids. General Grievous, Asajj Ventress, even Count Dooku.
Yes, Star Wars fans, that's where we get our excitement now. Name drops from former characters we know.
Commission.
That's the excitement of that, Star Wars fans. Anyway, the Space Whale taxi ride is coming to an end, and they come out of hyperspace in the other galaxy. Ahsoka and Huyang notice something going on. There's all these, what appears to be explosions, and it turns out that the space whales have come back to normal space in a minefield. I don't know where the hell this minefield came from. I guess Thrawn laid it out there for him, but I don't know when he did it. Timeline-wise, from what I can figure out, Ahsoka and Huyang were maybe 12 hours, 24 hours behind him. And they've been loading all those bodies, those sarcophagus on the Star Destroyer. I don't know how he gets these mines out there. Anyway, the mines are blowing up all over the place. And the Purgles do the smart thing. They get the hell out of Dodge. And let's be honest, let's not blame them. I mean, everyone wants to get out of this show probably at this point. We see another exciting scene with Ahsoka and Huyang piloting daringly through the minefield, then going into the boneyard where all the bones of the Purgles are. Thrawn sends some fighters to intercept him, but he eventually decides that, we don't need to do that because, again, he's Grand Admiral Thrawn and he's got a plan.
Put her on a path of her own choosing, so that no matter which direction she takes, we'll always be one step ahead of her.
All right, so it sounds like Grand Admiral Thrawn's great plan for Ahsoka Tano is to let her do what she wants, and then he'll always know what she's doing. Maybe it's because I'm not a Grand Admiral of the Imperial Navy. I just don't get that. And probably it doesn't make any sense because there are no great strategists or minds on this writing team.
Whole bunch of functional idiots.
Regardless, Grand Admiral Thrawn then decides, I'm going to try to locate Ahsoka Tano using the Great Mothers, the Night Sisters, and their magical powers. While Ahsoka's hiding in the bone field, using the Force to locate Sabine down on the surface of the planet, the Night Sisters triangulate and find Ahsoka, and the hyperspace ring launches lasers at it, trying to blast them out of the sky. And of course, Ahsoka and Huyang get away and go towards the planet to rendezvous with Sabine. Speaking of Sabine, of course, she and Ezra have reunited in that very heartfelt reunion, and now they're kind of trucking along with the Dink Dinks, also known as the Noti, in what appears to be a caravan of basically SUVs, because they're nomadic people. Along the way, Sabine and Ezra talk about how things have changed because he's trying to catch up, and he learns, everything that happened with the fall of the Empire.
The Empire was defeated.
Battle of Endor.
The Emperor died.
That's what people say.
There's honestly not a lot to the scene. It's kind of flat. I think it's just the characters aren't playing well off each other. But he does say something that is absolutely correct when Sabine says that Ahsoka decided to take her on as a Padawan.
She what? Why? I mean, congratulations.
Yeah, that's the great question. Why? Sabine has no Force powers. I feel like he's trying to make her feel good about it, that, she did a little bit of training, but we all know that she has no Force powers.
What I mean is, look, it's taken me a while to learn, and, I use the Force.
Baylan and Shin continue along their path, tracking down Sabine and Ezra, and once they've located them, Baylan says it's time for you to go after them, kill them, and take your place in the Empire. I have a different destiny. So he's going off to find whatever power he sensed on this planet. And I guess this is somehow writing the only interesting character off. And honestly, the other thing is that he just doesn't come off well in this episode. It's he's still physically imposing, but there's not much to him here either. Shin and her band of renegade pirates, bandits, whatever they are, on top of their, rat dogs, wargs, whatever the hell they are, catch up with Sabine and Ezra, and a very slow chase ensues. These dogs are maybe going 30, 40 miles an hour. It's clear that the trailers aren't going that much faster either. One of the trailers gets taken out and, runs off on the side. And Ezra decides it's time to circle up the wagons. And now, this is the time when we get our battle. Ezra notices Shin off in the distance and, asks, who's that?
Who's that?
She's like you, but lacks your sense of humor.
Lightsaber?
Oh, yeah.
She's like you. She's like you. So instantly Sabine recognizes that, she didn't say she's like us. She said she's like you, because Ezra's a Jedi and she's not. She's just someone learning how to wield a lightsaber without any force powers. You're not a Padawan. That's clear. It's clear. She even knows it's clear. Regardless, the battle's about to begin. Don't you think a Jedi should have his weapon?
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
We all know forever the history of this story. Star Wars, the weapon of the Jedi, the lightsaber. It's iconic. And just before the battle's about to begin, Sabine hands Ezra's lightsaber to him. And what happens?
It's your lightsaber. Take it.
You keep it.
What?
I don't need it.
Oh, God. This is so dumb. First off, of course, we all know that when you are given a lightsaber you don't want, there's only one thing you do with it. All right, yeah, kidding. This doesn't make any damn sense. They're about to go into battle, and he's not going to use a lightsaber. A Jedi not using a lightsaber. What does he say instead?
At least take a blaster.
No. The Force is my ally. That's all I need.
Yeah, okay. So this is supposed to be like Chirrut in Rogue One. He's just going to use the Force. Again, that doesn't make any sense. But we then get a sequence where he's running around and basically using what I'm going to call Force Fu, where he's doing some form of martial arts and a whole bunch of Force pushes back and forth. Sabine waits a little too long, I think, before she breaks out the saber, because she's getting hit in the back of the head, but brushing it off, as like it's just a saber through the gut, I guess. Things don't hurt her. While this is all going on with Ezra and Sabine, Ahsoka has arrived on the planet. She jumps down out of her starship, basically right in front of Baylan, and they, have a little tete-a-tete.
Can't allow you to interfere.
I don't have time for this.
And then we have another lightsaber battle. And again, as it was before, it's clunky. This time, Ahsoka's using both blades, but I think it's very restrained in the movements. Again, I don't think Rosario Dawson is good at using two sabers, so things are kept to a minimum in this case. It's also not as fast-paced as we saw when Hayden was playing Anakin. Honestly, this whole lightsaber battle feels kind of worthless. Hu Yang eventually flies a ship in, blasts the ground, creating a distraction, which allows Ahsoka basically to steal Baylan's ride. So she takes off on his warg, and he's just kind of left standing there all alone. I kind of wonder if he's like, am I finally out of this? Do I finally get to leave? Oh, thank you, Lord. I'm done with this torture. Shin eventually enters the battle and almost, cuts off Ezra's head, missing just by a hair, as we can see. And of course, he doesn't have a lightsaber to fight her, so he just kind of uses, some force blocking back and forth and some more of that Force Fu. Ultimately, Sabine comes in and she starts battling with the lightsaber in a very clunky way, not at all the way a Jedi would. We now have a standoff with Sabine and Ezra, but that's when the stormtroopers show up. Yeah, so now the stormtroopers come into play and they start surrounding everybody. And it does not look good for Sabine and Ezra. Ezra, says, hold up a second. Let's talk this out.
Wait. We could talk. Or we could just... don't you want to take us as prisoners?
Right before the stormtroopers open fire, you bet. Ahsoka shows up, and she now engages in battle with Shin without a lightsaber. Why are they not using their lightsabers? She has two. She just used them. What? I don't understand this. More battle ensues. They're fighting with the stormtroopers and Ezra, who just said, I don't need my lightsaber. I have the Force as my ally. What does he do? He picks up a blaster. Writers, did you not even remember what you just wrote? this battle is just stupid. Eventually, Thrawn decides, I've done what I wanted to, because apparently his whole plan was to distract them while he continues loading up all the Night Sister sarcophagus on the Star Destroyer.
Let me show you what I see. With our enemy distracted, the cargo transfer is now almost complete.
That was the plan? Did they even know that was happening? What? They were never going after the Star Destroyer. Sabine and Ezra are off on a little romp with all the little dink-dinks in their trailers. Ahsoka was looking for them. They had no clue about the Star Destroyer. Thrawn was free to do whatever he wanted to do. But this is his plan, to distract them?
Ahsoka Tano has lost the one thing she could not afford to lose today. Time.
I don't understand this strategy. And again, I don't think the writers are smart enough to come up with a good strategy. It's just stupid. You know what's also stupid? Ahsoka reaching out to Shin.
I can help you.
Are we going to do the same thing we always do, where we turn a bad guy good in these stories, especially if it's a female character who's a bad guy? Because that's been the pattern lately. Go back and watch, Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where, Disney Freckleface girl was kind of like a hero in a way. It just doesn't make, none of this episode made sense. It's a waste of time. It's a whole bunch of filler, and this is supposed to set it up for the final episode. I don't know what the purpose of this was, other than to waste 38 minutes of my time.
I agree. This is a complete waste of time.
We really struggled on our last live watch to try to have something to talk about. A lot of times we'll go 2.5, 3 hours talking after we've watched the whole show. This, we barely got to 2 hours, and it was a rough haul. Why? Because nothing happens. There's nothing interesting here. There's no good character moments. Even Ray Stevenson doesn't stand out unlike he did before. It's telling when such a Star Wars enthusiast like Star Wars Theory did not like this episode. Yeah, I just don't see how this sets up for the last episode, which is this week. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. 9 p.m. Tuesday night Eastern Time. That's when it premieres. Of course, myself, Wookie Be Bad, and the Fractured Filter will be doing our final Ahsoka live watch, our last struggle session together on this latest blight on the Star Wars Disney franchise. Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Go check us out there. Until next time, questions, comments, witticisms down below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. See you guys later.